जैसे कि आपने देखा कि हमारी पहली वीडियो में हमने सुप्रीम कोर्ट के 4 फेमस लॉयर्स के बीच की डिस्कशन सुनी कि कैसे एक जज जिसके पॉलिटिकल लिंक्स हैं वो अपनी पोजीशन को किसी पर्टिकुलर पार्टी को सपोर्ट करने के लिए यूज कर सकता है, इस चाह में कि रिटायरमेंट के बाद उसे रिवॉर्ड्स मिलेंगे। और इसका एग्जाम्पल लेते हुए उन्होंने कई ऐसे जजेस का नाम भी लिया, साथ ही रिसेंटली रिजाइन करने वाले जज गंगोपाध्याय को भी हाईलाइट किया। बातों बातों में उन्होंने पोस्ट रिटायरमेंट बेनिफिट्स और जजेस के अंदर फेयर की बात की, जिसके बारे में हम डिटेल में इस वीडियो में जानेंगे। तो जब दिल से की ये कन्वर्सेशन और आगे बढ़ी कि जजेस के रिटायर होने के बाद उन्हें स्टेट या गवर्नमेंट में जगह मिल जाती है, तो सिब्बल ने कहा कि इस चीज को हटाने के लिए मुझे लगता है कि कूलिंग ऑफ पीरियड की जरूरत है। इस बात पर एडवोकेट भूषण ने अपने पॉइंट रखते हुए कहा,
I feel that rather than cooling off period, more important thing is to say that the government cannot have anything at all to do with any post-retirement jobs of judges. So it has to be done by a completely independent body. So I have been saying that even judges, instead of just this Collegium system, there needs to be a full-time independent body called the National Judicial Appointments Commission, which is not of the kind which was designed earlier, which had the law minister and 3 judges as ex officio, but a full-time body. That kind of body should decide as to whether a judge and which judge should be given what post-retirement job, and the government should have absolutely nothing to do with it.
तो सिब्बल ने भूषण की बातों से एग्री करते हुए बाकी देशों के जुडिशियल सिस्टम और उनकी अपॉइंटमेंट्स के रेफरेंस दिए और कहा कि आर्गुमेंट दैट इज बीइंग रेज्ड दैट बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन व्हाई शुड द एग्जीक्यूटिव बी लेफ्ट आउट इन द सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट एनीमोर इन द लिबरल डेमोक्रेसीज ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, सो वी शुड मूव टुवर्ड्स दैट डायरेक्शन, पर तब तक वी नीड टू हैव अ कूलिंग ऑफ पीरियड। जैसे ही सीनियर एडवोकेट कपिल सिब्बल ने ये बोला, वैसे ही एडवोकेट दवे ने इसमें कोलेजियम सिस्टम की बात करते हुए कहा कि उन्हें लगता है कि अब तक सबसे वर्स्ट अपॉइंटमेंट्स कोलेजियम सिस्टम के अंडर की गई हैं। वो जिस भी हाई कोर्ट में जाते हैं सुनते हैं कि जजेस में वैल्यूज इरोड हो चुकी हैं और ये आइडियोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम है। दवे का मानना है कि इंस्टीट्यूशन एक सीरियस चैलेंज के अंडर है, लेकिन यहाँ पे एडवोकेट भूषण को उनकी बातों से थोड़ा डिसएग्री करते हुए देखा गया।
I just have some slight disagreement on this. You see, while the Collegium system is not a very good system, I agree with that, because there is still a lot of arbitrary and nepotistic appointments taking place in this system. But this at least led to somewhat more independent judges being appointed than if the appointments were with the government as compared with that.
I'm sorry, I won't be able to agree to that.
So let me just complete. Now what the present government has done, unfortunately, it has stalled the appointment of independent judges by either sitting on the recommendations of the Collegium, if they recommend independent judges, which is not always the case, but when they recommend independent judges, the government either sits over those recommendations, or alternatively, when they send the names back and the names are unanimously reiterated, even then they sit over that and they just don't issue the notification. So this is how the government.
दवे ने कहा कि ये सच है, लेकिन कोलेजियम बहुत सारे ऐसे नाम सेंड करता है जो अनडिजायरेबल है। सिब्बल ने कहा कि जब तक एग्जीक्यूटिव इस प्रोसेस का पार्ट है, तब तक सिस्टम ऐसे ही पॉल्यूटेड रहेगा। इस पे मीनाक्षी अरोड़ा को भी सिब्बल से एग्री करते हुए देखा गया। सिब्बल का मानना है कि अगर इंस्टीट्यूशन की इंडिपेंडेंस की बात है तो हाईएस्ट कोर्ट को मैसेज सेंड करना चाहिए। इस डिस्कशन पर एडवोकेट दवे ने कहा,
It must start from the top. The highest court must show fierce independence, because in last few years, I mean, there was a great hope from Chief Justice Chandrachud, and let us hope that he lives up to that hope till September. But before that, under various Chief Justices, we saw a steady and continuous decline in independence of Supreme Court in more than one way. And that is something which, they may not have been ideological judges, but they were certainly judges who were willing to toe the line of the party in power, and which in every which way. So it was not in just judgments, it was also in appointment of High Court and Supreme Court judges. It was also in allocation of cases to various benches. So it was also in appointment of post-retirement, judges.
ऐसे ही चीफ जस्टिस की अपॉइंटमेंट्स पर और उनके मास्टर ऑफ रोस्टर बन के सेंसिटिव केसेस असाइन करने पर बात करते हुए मीनाक्षी अरोड़ा ने अपनी एक स्टडी शेयर की कि कैसे जजेस बेनिफिट्स के लिए जजमेंट देते हैं। शी सेड,
But I said this here, that you have judges, you are incentivizing these judges because the judgments that are rendered by them are for a particular incentives later on, which is a trade-off also for them as post-retirement.
It's a clear quid pro quo.
It's a clear quid pro quo. So therefore, and there is a study that is very interesting, I just happened to be looking at it, which said judges who retire sometime midterm, not close to an election, are more used for incentivizing because there is a term of that particular government to give them the rewards when they retire. And they also reported in this particular study that judges who retire much closer to closure of a term of a government will probably not render, because then you do not know which way the things would go. This is a study that's carried out after various data. Either you have a complete cooling off period. You have to have a cooling off period, and that also takes care of judges like Justice Abhijit Gangopadhyay. If you cannot join a political party, you cannot take an office. And I will not say 1 year, I would say at least 3 years.
जब ये डिस्कशन हुआ कि बार या बार मेंबर्स जुडिशरी की इंडिपेंडेंस के लिए कुछ क्यों नहीं बोलते, तो दवे ने हाईलाइट करते हुए बोला,
Look, Sir Kapil, you must understand one thing. To take a stand or to swim against the tide, you must be prepared to make a sacrifice. Unless you are willing to make a sacrifice, because you perceive that if I take a stand against the ruling party or against, the misconduct of a judge or a particular chief justice, I am likely to lose my briefs, or I am likely to...
But that weakens the bar, no?
Correct. But that's really what is now the measure, unfortunately. The measure is that generation of lawyers who were there during independent struggle, who sacrificed everything that they had, their peace of mind, their material resources, and spent years in jail. Be it Mahatma Gandhi, be it Jawaharlal Nehru, be it Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, you name them, they sacrificed so much. And it is therefore really surprising that in 75 years, these group of lawyers who got freedom for this country have suddenly lost courage to stand up and speak today. That really is unbelievable. It's something which is not understandable at all.
इस पे भूषण ने भी ऐड किया और कहा,
Actually, it is not even this fear that lawyers and sometimes judges also have, that if I speak against the current actions of the judiciary, I will be victimized, or the judges feel that if I give a judgment against the government, I will be victimized, etc. That's mostly an unfounded fear. It's unfortunate that people have become so psychologically weak.
डिस्कशन के दौरान एक और गौर करने वाली बात सामने आई, जिसमें ये पता चला कि जहां बाकी देश के जजेस की अपॉइंटमेंट्स में 10 से भी ज्यादा एट्रीब्यूट्स को देखते हैं, वहीं इंडिया बस कॉम्पिटेंस और इंटीग्रिटी देखता है। दवे ने कहा कि सेकंड जजेस केस में ऐसे क्राइटेरिया मेंशन्ड है, पर कोई उसे फॉलो नहीं करता। बेंच पर बैठे पर्सन्स की क्वालिटी के बारे में बात करते हुए एडवोकेट अरोड़ा ने एक कंसर्न रेज किया, ये कहते हुए,
You can still do something about it. You have the National Judicial Academy. I would like to know that do you really train also your judges to recognize the pitfalls, to recognize how to avoid those pitfalls? They're going to happen. I mean, it's a part of that exercise when you sit on the chair. The temptations are going to be there. The incentives are going to be shown to you. We know it. We've seen it all the time. Do you sit and train your judges to recognize where they're coming and how is their code of conduct to happen? I think I would like to know whether the National Judicial Academy for its judges at least does some kind of a training program to make them realize that these are the clear no's and these are the do's and the don'ts.
पर कपिल सिब्बल ने कहा कि जजेस के डिसीजन उनके फेयर पर डिपेंड करते हैं, कि अगर उन्होंने ऐसा किया तो समथिंग कैन हैपन। लेकिन भूषण ने इसे काउंटर किया और कहा कि ये बस उनका डर है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा। सिब्बल ने कहा कि आप यहाँ गलत है, उनका सीआर खराब हो जाएगा, उनकी प्रमोशन रिपोर्ट स्पॉइल हो जाएंगी। ऐसे ही एग्जांपल्स देते हुए उन्होंने उन जजेस का नाम लिया जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट नहीं पहुँच पाए। दवे ने भी इसमें अपना व्यू रखते हुए बोला कि वही बात है, एक जज स्टेट की जुडिशरी को या तो बना सकता है या बिगाड़ सकता है, और यही कोलेजियम फेल हो जा रहा है। जब वो जजेस को एज चीफ जस्टिसेस टू वेरियस हाई कोर्ट्स अपॉइंट करता है, देन इट्स नॉट इवन टेकिंग नोट ऑफ द फैक्ट whether these chief justices are capable administratively to do something good for the institution of judiciary in the state. इसी नोट पर एंड करते हुए सभी एडवोकेट्स को डिस्कस करते हुए देखा गया कि जुडिशरी को कैसे फ्लरिश किया जाए.
both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that pushback must come from together, a combination from judges and the bar.
I think what the Chief Justice should do, or what judges should do, is to have a conversation with us, right? And then take that forward, because we want the institution to flourish and thrive for the people of this country.
But if you see, whenever the judiciary does anything good or which is seen to be kind of in favor of fundamental rights and democracy, etc., there is such applause from the people, there is such praise from the people, that this is one thing that people should realize in the judiciary, that public opinion will stand with them when they stand with the constitution and fundamental rights.
And I entirely agree with you. I think some of the seminal judgments that have come recently.
So this was the healthy discussion which took place between the four prominent judges of the Supreme Court, who never fears to put their opinion before the public. To get brief summary of such discussions, keep following LawChakra.